We're going to do a breathing exercise, and you might want to have some support under your head for this because you'll be lying down. So a cushion and maybe a blanket over you so that you're warm. So just come and lie down. And have your knees bent, feet on the floor, and you want your feet a little bit away from the bum so your feet aren't too close. You've got an angle in the shins so the hips can really relax down. Just cover yourself up. Make sure you're warm and settle your hands onto your tummy so your elbows are on the ground. And just take a few moments to land into this moment, settling. Feel the ground underneath you. Just notice the position of your body. Feel your feet. Notice any sensations in your feet. Feel the connection between your feet and the ground. Feel the back of the hips. It might feel quite heavy or hard on the ground. And just notice that connection. See if you can relax into the weight of your hips. Let your elbows drop down. And as they drop down, feel your shoulder blades settling a little bit too. Feel where your head is and just let the head relax, the shoulders, the elbows. And give a few more moments just to let your whole body sink into the support of the ground. Now bring your hands up to your lower ribs. So just slide your hands up so that your elbows are still on the ground. They're a little bit wider and your palms and fingers are spanning the bottom of the ribs. So we'll begin with some diaphragmatic breathing. This means to bring awareness, attention and movement to the diaphragm so that you feel a bit more aware of this area of your breath, the engine of your breath. And feel the way your ribs move. So on the inhale, notice the way the ribs move outwards. They expand out into your hands. And on the exhale, you can feel your rib cage gently move inwards and down slightly. So continue with this and just add a little bit of resistance in, and that means slight pressure. So as you exhale, gently press the ribs a little bit. So as you exhale, you give a very gentle little light pressure in to feel the ribs going in. And then inhale, apply slight resistance so your ribs have to push into your hands to expand. And you'll feel them going a little bit wider. And then exhale, feel your ribs go in and kind of encourage them in with the hands. So this is just simple resistance to stimulate more movement in the diaphragm, more awareness. And what you should feel here is your breath naturally gets a bit bigger as you're exaggerating it and giving it resistance. Keep going for a few more breaths. Notice if your mind is distracted, if you're feeling busy in your head, and just observe that happening. If it is, and just keep coming back to the movement of the breath. So your breath is your anchor, your breath is your focus now. Now this inhale, next inhale, expand the ribs and broaden them and set the elbows in that position. And then as you exhale, don't let the ribs go in again. So you keep them broad when you're exhaling now. And when you inhale, the ribs you can feel expand and they stay there when you exhale. And what this is doing is creating a little bit of internal decompression. So The diaphragm is still moving, but because it's not pulling the ribs in, it's pulling the abdominal muscles up. And you might feel this as a sort of a suction, a pulling up feeling, as if the upper belly has become a bit hollow. Really good for the spine, for the internal organs, for the abdominal muscles as well. A couple more breaths there where you're just feeling this broadness of your ribs, just keeping it broad. Relax your shoulders, make sure you're not tensing anywhere else in the body. Keep breathing without the ribs moving. And then on the next exhale, let the ribs go in again. Just let them slide back in. And go back to normal breathing there. And as you do that, let your hands slide down slightly further onto the belly. And what you might notice there is your breath has natural volume to it. It feels a bit more spacious, and you may be a bit more aware of your abdominal movement of the breath. So just notice the way the abdomen, the belly rises naturally on the inhale and the way it settles naturally down on the exhale. So don't worry about exaggerating, just feel what's naturally happening and stay with that for a few rounds. And then bring your hands a little bit lower, so you can slide your hands and elbows down a little bit, so your palms are resting on the hip bones and your hands create this little triangular shape. So the palms are on the hip bones, the first fingers are pointing down, and the thumbs, and they're touching, and the thumbs are kind of just going straight across the lower belly, and the tips of the thumbs are touching. And this is called Yoni Mudra. And it's like a little triangular shape where the palms are flat, the fingertips and the thumb tips are touching, creating a little triangle. And you should find that your fingertips naturally fall to the pubic bone and the palms are resting on the hip bone. So you're kind of framing the lower belly. And then just feel where your thumbs are and feel this area just below the navel, and very lightly let the thumbs be raised on the inhale and fall on the exhale. So the lower belly is just lightly and gently lifting the thumbs, and they're going down like a little bridge, like Tower Bridge, just rising up, slowly opening the thumbs, just rising up with the lower belly, and exhaling, sinking down. Just do a few rounds of this, where you feel the movement now is moving down the body into the lower belly. And then see if you can let the thumbs become more still, so the outer body is more still, and keep the breath flowing, but more focus now deep in the lower belly. So let your attention go right down into the lower belly. And feel like there's a balloon inside there, a little balloon that on the inhale just rises up, inflates slightly, and on the exhale is sinking and settling. So there's this little feeling of gentle inflation in the lower belly on the inhale, and exhale, let it deflate and settle. And on the next exhale, see if you can hug your lower belly in a little bit more. So now it goes flatter, and you'll feel a little bit of a flattening in the lower back. And then inhale, relax the lower belly and create this slight tilt in the pelvis. Exhaling, drawing your lower belly in, and with it the pelvic floor slightly lifts, pulls up, the lower back flattens. There's this little tipping action in the pelvis. And then inhaling, tipping the pelvis the other way, feeling the back slightly arch. So it's a really gentle tilt and tuck in the pelvis. Exhaling, the pelvis tucks, the back flattens. Keep it really gentle and very internal, so you still have this concept, this feeling of a belly, the lower belly balloon inflating. And the lower belly balloon gently deflating. To keep space and awareness. A couple more breaths here. And we're just tracking and moving with the breath, getting this sense of the way the breath moves the body naturally and the depth of the breath, how far down the movement of the breath travels right into the pelvic floor. Just a couple more breaths here, that gentle tilt and tuck. And then from here just turn the palms up, drop them out to the side so the palms face up, leaving the body. And just extend your legs if that's comfortable and just drop into Shavasana for a few moments. And just allow your breath to be whatever it is in this moment. And just stay with your breath. So your breath could be very gentle, very light and still really effective. Or maybe it feels quite deep and voluminous now. So just notice the quality of your breathing. Few more breaths here, just enjoying your breath. Letting the breath come when it comes and finish when it finishes. So there's no force, there's no grabbing of the breath. You're just letting it end when it wants to and begin when it needs to. And you can stay here. You can continue with another practice. Maybe this is setting you up ready for sleep, for bed. Or if you finish, you can roll to your side and just push yourself back up. Namaste.